Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 25th of July, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar index. We see it's been flatlining the last couple of days, so it's just pausing for breath, but we still have this very bearish territory for the dollar. So no signs of a transition yet. We need to get back above 94.50 on the dollar index. Which is just over 0.5% to be back above the cloud on the short term. If we look at the euro, we see here that the euro is actually rising quite strongly, flatlining as well, but all the upside is to the is up on the short-term chart, and we have lost some downside targets. So the euro, it does seem to be making this long-term transition of strength. Japanese yen, dollar's been falling there as well. And we're just flatlining, so stronger yen, weaker dollar. Sterling just struggling at this 130 level. We are bullish above the cloud again short term, and we do have some upside targets here. 136, which is 5% upside, has been activated, but the long-term picture has still got these targets hanging over us. And if we look at sterling against the euro, we see here we are below the cloud with multiple downside targets. This low that we saw last year around 110, that does look like it's going to come under pressure with lots of targets pointing to that. Looking at against the Swiss franc, it is up slightly this morning, but it's still bearish below the cloud there too. And against the Australian dollar, flat and just moving into slightly bullish territory, and that's more about some Australian dollar weakness than it is about sterling strength, but still very much the Australian dollar having the upper hand. The S&P 500 was down a few points yesterday, but still looking very bullish. The Nasdaq is looking stronger. It was up 1/3%, and really just constantly just powering ahead. It is the Nasdaq that is really driving the US markets, tech stocks being the driver. And we see here the Dow also strong. A lot of companies reporting this week, so it'll be interesting to see how they have an effect on the Dow. The Russell 2000 was up slightly, bullish above all three time frames above the cloud, so again looking very strong. The S&P future up very slightly this morning, and the Nasdaq E-mini no change, so no real heads up on which way the US market is going to open. The FTSE is up 0.75% this morning, so that's recovering some of yesterday's lost ground. We are finding just some support there on the short-term chart, but a bit of a mixed picture. Medium and long-term still looks pretty positive, as does the FTSE 250, recovering quite strongly, having found support on the cloud. DAX was down very strongly yesterday. We really got a little bit of a bounce this morning, but it is starting to be dragged into negative territory here. That stronger euro weighing heavily on the German market. If we look at the Nikkei, much the same picture, bearish below the cloud on the short term, and that's the stronger yen having an impact. Hang Seng was up and is bullish on all three time frames, and the Shanghai Composite was down just slightly, so China just pausing for breath. And the Indian market just continues to march on, so looking very strong. The Aussie market was up 2/3%, but really the stronger Australian dollar having an impact there as well. And looking at Brent crude, we have started to recover a little bit, but there's been some announcements from OPEC, but we are still bearish in the short term and medium term, so it's got work to do yet to turn bullish. Same for WTI. If we look at US nat gas, just sitting in the 292 area, copper up quite strongly, so this continues to show industrial strength, really China being a factor there, so we are seeing copper rising quite strongly. If we take a look at gold, gold is down a few dollars at the moment, but it is still bullish. We do have this new upside target of 12.98. If we can move above 12.60, we activate that. So gold still looking relatively good. Silver not quite as strong, and with some downside targets on those medium and long-term charts, just not quite the same picture. US Treasury yields just crossed the fray yesterday, back above the cloud, so we're into the high 260, 226, 227 area on Treasury yields. So that's looking like we're just seeing a renewed rise there. So back into bullish territory in the short term, but no clear upside targets. Tech stocks, as we mentioned, powering the market ahead. Apple up over 1%. Google it announced results post-trade, so it'll be interesting to see the charts move today. But disappointed the market somewhat on after hours trade, so we're just interesting to see whether this resistance point is just a step too far for Google. But of course, over the course of a year, Google have done amazingly well. Amazon looking pretty strong as well. Facebook reporting this week, so it'll be interesting to see how the chart reacts to that. And Microsoft also just pausing for breath at the moment. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.